They saw a black man in a leather vest fueling his Harley and thought he was trash. They shoved him, smashed his son's phone, and threatened his wife with a taser. They thought they were teaching a thug's family a lesson they'd never forget. They had no idea they'd just attacked Leo Preacher Jackson, a decorated Marine and the high-ranking vice president of the Hells Angels. They didn't just start a fight. They started a war with a brotherhood that never backs down, igniting a firestorm of justice that would burn their corrupt world to the ground. This is the story of how one family's stand against injustice exposed a town's darkest secrets and proved that sometimes the most feared patch is worn by the man fighting on the right side of the law. Our story begins on a humid afternoon, the air thick and heavy around the Jackson family. Leo Jackson stands beside his gleaming Harley, the gas pump clicking rhythmically. His weathered leather vest, with the unmistakable Hells Angels patch, catches the last rays of sunlight. In the family SUV, his wife Maria watches, a knot of unease tightening in her stomach. Years of marriage to Leo have given her a sixth sense for trouble, and right now, every instinct was screaming. In the back, their 13-year-old son, Mateo, was just waking from a nap. The trouble she sensed arrived with the silent pull of a patrol car. Officers Croft and Evans didn't just park, they positioned themselves, their car's engine idling like a low growl. Through the gas station's grimy windows, the cashier watched. Two local men leaning against a pickup truck with a Confederate flag decal made no effort to hide their stares. To them, Leo was already guilty of something. At 13, Mateo was old enough to recognize the weight of these moments. He'd seen that look in people's eyes before, the one that erases the decorated Marine, the respected leader, the loving father, and leaves only a stereotype. The gas pump clicked, signaling it was full. Leo deliberately kept his movements slow and precise as he returned the nozzle. He'd learned through years of hard experience that in moments like these, control is everything. Inside the SUV, Maria reached for her phone, a habit born from too many news stories. She saw Mateo do the same, his young face serious beyond his years. His father had taught him a lesson learned too young. Document everything. Stay quiet. Stay safe. The patrol car doors opened. Officer Croft strode toward Leo, his boots striking the pavement with deliberate force. His hand was already resting casually on his weapon, a gesture that was anything but casual. His partner, Deputy Evans, began to circle Leo's Harley, running his fingers along the chrome with obvious disdain, his eyes fixated on the Hells Angels patch. "Put your hands where I can see them," Croft barked, his voice cutting through the humid air. "We've got reports of someone matching your description robbing a store up the road." Leo remained calm, his military discipline a shield against the officer's aggression. "Sir, I've been on the road with my family all day. We're just passing through." His hands moved slowly, reaching for his wallet. "I said hands where I can see them." Croft's voice cracked like a whip. Inside the SUV, Mateo's hands trembled, but he held his phone steady. The recording icon pulsed red, a silent witness. Leo produced his documents, maintaining eye contact. Croft snatched them, barely glancing at the Marine Corps ID before tossing them back. "Marine Corps veteran, Hells Angels VIP. Yeah, right." "You seem awful jumpy," Croft said, stepping closer, invading Leo's space. He jabbed a finger into Leo's chest. "Your eyes look glassy. You high right now?" Leo stood his ground, his voice never wavering. "No, sir. I don't use drugs. I'm just trying to get my family home safely." The demand came next, dripping with contempt. "Get on your knees." When Leo didn't immediately comply, Croft shoved him hard. "I said knees!" Leo planted his feet, maintaining his balance. "You're out of line, officer." "I've cooperated. There's no reason for this." Croft's face flushed with rage. His eyes caught the glint of Mateo's phone screen through the SUV window. In 3 quick strides, he reached the car, yanked open the door, and swatted the device from the boy's hands. It hit the concrete with a sickening crack, shattering into pieces. That single act of defiance, a 13-year-old boy holding a phone, would set in motion a chain of events that would bring a corrupt department to its knees. But first, the family had to survive the night. "No!" Maria's cry pierced the air. She reached for her son, but froze when Evans drew his taser, the red targeting dot dancing across Leo's chest. "Last chance," Evans warned. "On your knees." Leo raised his hands slowly, palms forward. "My son is watching," he said, his voice tight with controlled emotion. "My boy is right there. Don't do this." But Croft's patience had snapped. He lunged forward, grabbing Leo's vest. Leo, using his military training, shifted his weight, redirecting the officer's momentum without throwing a single punch. But Evans seized the opportunity, diving in from behind. The impact drove them both toward the gas pump. They hit the ground hard. Leo twisted to protect his head, but Croft's knee found his back, pressing his face into the rough, fuel-stained concrete. The metallic taste of blood filled his mouth. "Stop resisting!" Croft screamed, though Leo hadn't thrown a single punch. Maria's screams echoed across the forecourt. "Help! Somebody help us!" As Croft yanked Leo's arms behind his back to cuff him, his leather vest fell open. Under the harsh fluorescent lights, the red and white death's head emblem of the Hells Angels gleamed. The words, "Vice President," were clearly visible. Deputy Evans's grip loosened instantly. His face drained of color as understanding dawned. "No way," he muttered, taking an involuntary step back. Officer Croft's fingers froze on the handcuffs. It was in that sudden dead silence that a new sound emerged. A distant rumble, growing louder with each passing second, the sound of rolling thunder that wasn't coming from the sky. "You boys picked the wrong night," Leo said quietly, his face still pressed to the pavement. The first bike appeared around the corner, a massive black Harley. Behind it, more bikes emerged from the darkness, their engines roaring in unison, filling the street with a disciplined, threatening growl. The convoy surrounded the scene in a precise half-circle, their headlights cutting through the dusk. Frankie Grave Costello, the chapter president, killed his engine and dismounted. His boots hit the pavement with decisive force as he strode forward, his eyes burning with controlled fury. "You just assaulted one of ours," he growled, his voice low but carrying an immense weight that pushed the officers back. Croft's bravado had completely evaporated, replaced by the sickly pallor of a man who realized he'd made a catastrophic mistake. "Let me up," Leo's voice was steady, "before this gets ugly." It wasn't a threat. It was a warning. Slowly, Evans removed his knee from Leo's back. "Badge numbers," Grave demanded, pulling out his phone. "Both of you. Now." Croft stammered, but Evans recited them quickly, his voice shaking. Leo pushed himself to his feet. Maria rushed forward, wrapping her arms around him as Mateo buried his face in his father's side. The circle of bikers stood as a silent, intimidating wall. They were soldiers, Marines, combat veterans, men who understood brotherhood and consequences. The officers retreated to their patrol car, never turning their backs. The family pulled out of the station, Leo on his Harley, Maria and Mateo in the SUV, leaving behind a crowd of witnesses and 2 cops who suddenly had a lot to think about. But the night was far from over. On the dark, empty highway, Leo saw headlights in his rearview mirror, the same patrol car. They were following. Then more headlights appeared. 2 more patrol cars joined the first, forming an intimidating convoy. They were being herded. The confirmation came moments later when a 4th set of headlights appeared ahead, a large police cruiser that turned sideways, creating an immovable barrier. The gold star on the door confirmed his worst fear: the sheriff's personal vehicle. "Step out of the vehicle, Mr. Jackson," A voice crackled over a loudspeaker. Leo dismounted slowly, hands raised. A figure emerged from behind the spotlight. Sheriff Ramsey, a man who walked with the swagger of someone whose authority had never been questioned. Behind Leo, Croft and Evans emerged from their cars. Everything happened in a blur. Croft tackled Leo from behind, crashing him to the asphalt. Evans pounced, wrenching his arms back as handcuffs bit into his wrists. "Stop it! You can't do this!" Maria screamed, bursting from the SUV. Sheriff Ramsey stepped between them, a cruel smile on his face. "Ma'am, we can do whatever we please. Your husband assaulted officers of the law." "That's a lie," Mateo cried out. "They attacked him first." "I recorded it." "That phone's destroyed, boy," Croft sneered, hauling Leo to his feet. "Ain't no evidence of nothing." They dragged Leo to a patrol car. "Dad!" Mateo's scream was the sound of innocence shattering. The car sped into the darkness, carrying Leo away from everything he loved. The county jail was a place designed to strip a man of his dignity. The fluorescent lights of the booking area cast a sickly green glow. The air smelled of bleach and despair. Sheriff Ramsey circled Leo like a vulture. "Well, well, looks like we got ourselves a real tough guy. Strip him down, process him, and make sure our biker friend learns some manners." Leo was forced into a small room and ordered to strip. The deputies mocked his tattoos, the Marine Corps emblem, the names of fallen brothers, the wedding band inked around his finger. The search was rough and humiliating, designed to break him. They threw him into a tiny freezing cell with a concrete slab for a bed. The door clanged shut with a sound of finality. He spent hours in the cold, controlling his breathing, compartmentalizing the rage and fear like he was taught in the Corps. Footsteps approached. A guard with a neck tattoo appeared at his cell. Without a word, his boot connected with Leo's already bruised ribs. The pain exploded through his side, sharp and blinding. But Leo didn't make a sound. He stared at a crack in the wall, focusing on it, detaching from the pain. He'd been hit harder by better men. Disappointed by the lack of reaction, the guard spat on the floor. "Not so tough without your biker buddies, are you?" he taunted before walking away. That night, lying in the darkness, Leo overheard the guards fabricating their report. "Right that he swung first," Croft's voice drifted down the corridor. "Right that he resisted. Make it stick." Their laughter followed. "Man, did you see his face when I knocked that phone out of the kid's hand?" The sound of his son's scream burned behind Leo's eyes. He moved to the bars, his hands wrapping around the cold metal. "You better hope I never get out," he whispered. It wasn't a threat, it was a promise. While Sheriff Ramsey was trying to break Leo in a cell, Maria and a civil rights attorney named Isabel Reed were building an army of truth on the outside. Maria had found Isabel's number through a friend, a number she hoped she'd never have to use. Isabel was a force of nature, carrying herself with the confidence of someone who had fought these battles before and won. "We need to move fast," Isabel said, examining Mateo's shattered phone. "Evidence has a way of disappearing in cases like this, especially when the sheriff is involved." Their first stop was the gas station. The young night clerk, Miguel, was terrified, his hands shaking as Isabel introduced herself. "I saw everything," he admitted in a whisper. "Those officers, they started it. Mr. Jackson was just getting gas. He confirmed the security cameras were working, but there was a problem. Sheriff Ramsey's people already came by asking about the footage." "Did they take it?" Isabel asked, her heart sinking. A small smile crossed the clerk's face. "No. The system backs up to an external drive. I told them the main recorder was down for maintenance. Everything's still there." Within minutes, Isabel had a copy of the footage from every camera angle. It was irrefutable, a perfect record of the unprovoked assault. As they left, Isabel was already on the phone with a contact at a local news station. "I've got concrete evidence of police brutality," she said. "Trust me, you'll want this for your morning broadcast." Back at the house, Mateo took a 30-second clip of the clearest part of the assault and posted it online. Then they waited. As the night wore on, one share became 10, then hundreds. Around 2 a.m., a major civil rights activist with millions of followers shared the video. The fire had been lit. By 3 a.m., the video had gone viral across the state. The truth was spreading, a wildfire of pixels and outrage. Dawn broke over the county jail as the first news vans pulled into the parking lot. Inside the break room, deputies watched in stunned silence as the crystal-clear footage played on the morning news. The anchor's grave voice filled the room. The victim, identified as Leo Jackson, is a decorated Marine veteran and high-ranking member of the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. Phones across the station began to ring off the hook. A protest began to form outside the sheriff's office. Then, around 9 a.m., a deep rumble filled the air. Dozens, then hundreds of motorcycles arrived, their engines a thunderous chorus of support. Hells Angels from across the country had answered the call. Veterans groups joined them, American flags held high. Civil rights activists linked arms with bikers. An unlikely army had formed, united for justice. Sheriff Ramsey, his face red with fury, stormed into Leo's cell block. "You think you can turn the country against me?" he snarled through the bars. Leo stood slowly, his calm a stark contrast to the sheriff's rage. "Looks like it's already happening. That video shows everything. Your boy's messed up, Sheriff. Now everybody knows it." The public pressure was immense. Within 72 hours, an emergency bail hearing was held. Leo was granted a temporary release. He emerged from the courthouse into the bright sunlight, where Mateo ran up the steps and crashed into his arms. The family held each other, a quiet island in a sea of cheering supporters and revving engines. That night, a massive rally was held in the town park. Leo took the stage, not as a victim, but as a leader. "They wanted you to see a threat, a criminal, a thug," he told the thousands gathered. "Instead, you see a father, a veteran, a man who served his country with honor. We don't bend. Not to cowards, not to corrupt badges, not to hate. We stand together." The feeling of victory was powerful, but their enemy was not done. At 3 a.m., the crash of breaking glass jolted them awake. On their front lawn, a cross was burning, its hellish light illuminating hateful words spray-painted across their home. The local police who responded did so with casual indifference, a smirk on one officer's face. They had won in the court of public opinion, but the corrupt system was now fighting back from the shadows. Days later, an official envelope arrived. It was a court summons, new charges, felony assault on a peace officer. Isabel Reed called moments later. "Ramsey's behind this," she said, her voice tight with anger. "He submitted fabricated dashboard camera footage claiming you threw the first punch." Before they could process it, they were surrounded. "FBI, open up." Sheriff Ramsey stood behind the federal agents, a triumphant smile on his face as they put Leo in handcuffs once again. "Son," he said to a crying Mateo, "your daddy's a criminal." "Don't you dare speak to my child." Maria's voice was like ice. As the FBI SUV pulled away, Leo saw his family in the driveway, and the club members keeping a powerless watch. Ramsey had escalated the war, bringing the full weight of the federal government down on one family. He thought he had finally won. But he underestimated his enemy. He underestimated Isabel Reed, who worked through the night, building her case. He underestimated the Brotherhood, who began quietly funding the legal battle. And he underestimated the cracks forming within his own department. An anonymous email arrived in Isabel's inbox. The sender, guard788 at protonmail.com. The subject, Ramsey Proof. Attached was an audio file. Isabel pressed play. Sheriff Ramsey's voice filled her ears, bragging to Deputy Evans. "Got that biker right where I want him. By the time we're done, he'll wish he never rode through my county. He admitted to fabricating the report. "Footage shows what I say it shows. You and Croft stick to the story. That thug hit first." This was the ammunition she needed. She discovered a key witness inside the jail, an older inmate named Elias, who was willing to testify about Ramsey's targeted harassment of Leo. "That man's got more dignity in his little finger than the sheriff has in his whole body," Elias told her over a recorded line. "I'll testify." It's time someone stood up to him. More evidence poured in. Maria, working tirelessly, tracked down a trucker who had also recorded the incident on his dash cam, providing a crucial second angle. She gathered sworn affidavits from other customers at the gas station who confirmed Leo never showed aggression. Then, another leak, cell phone footage from inside the jail, recorded by a young guard who couldn't stomach the corruption anymore. It showed Ramsey screaming at Leo in his cell. The video went viral instantly, even faster than the first one. The hashtag Justice for Leo trended nationally. The stage was set for the final battle, a federal trial. The prosecution thought they had an open and shut case. They had no idea Isabel was about to unleash an avalanche of truth. In the courtroom, the air was thick with tension. The Hells Angels filled the gallery, their presence a silent statement of support. The prosecutor began his opening statement, but Isabel immediately dismantled it with a series of sharp objections. Then she played the gas station video for the jury. Gasps echoed through the room. She played the audio recording of Sheriff Ramsey. The jurors' faces turned from shock to disgust. She called her first witness, Deputy Alan Evans. He shuffled to the stand, a man broken by guilt. "Deputy Evans," Isabel began, "please tell us about the instructions you received regarding Mr. Jackson's arrest." Sweat beaded on Evans's forehead. His eyes darted to Ramsey in the front row. I was told to write in the report that Mr. Jackson struck first." "By whom?" Isabel pressed. Evans's voice cracked. "Sheriff Ramsey. He told us to rough him up, said we needed to teach him a lesson about knowing his place." The courtroom erupted. Suddenly, Sheriff Ramsey leaped to his feet, his face purple with rage. "You lying piece of—" He lunged toward the witness stand. "I'll kill you!" Chaos. Deputies rushed to restrain the thrashing, screaming sheriff. The judge's gavel cracked like a gunshot. "Remove Sheriff Ramsey," she ordered, "and place him under arrest for threatening a witness." As they dragged him out, Ramsey's power, built on a foundation of fear and lies, shattered for all to see. With the sheriff gone, Deputy Evans told the jury everything. He detailed months of systematic harassment, racial profiling, and evidence tampering, all under Ramsey's command. Isabel followed with witness after witness, each one hammering another nail into the coffin of the prosecution's case. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. When they returned, the foreman stood. "On the count of assaulting a police officer, we find the defendant, Leo Jackson, not guilty. On the count of resisting arrest, not guilty. On the count of obstruction of justice, not guilty." The weight of 100 sleepless nights lifted. The judge turned to Leo. "Mr. Jackson, you are acquitted of all charges. On behalf of this court, I extend our sincere apologies for what you and your family have endured." She then sentenced the disgraced officers Evans and Croft to 5 years in state prison for their crimes. Leo emerged from the courthouse into the bright afternoon sun. Maria on one side, Mateo on the other. A thunderous salute from hundreds of motorcycle engines greeted them. Justice, hard-won and long overdue, had finally been served. Weeks later, Leo stood on those same courthouse steps, but not to fight for himself. He was there to launch the Mateo Initiative, a foundation created to provide legal aid and support to other families facing abuse of power. His personal battle had become a public mission. "They tried to break my family," Leo said into the microphones. "But instead they created a movement. This foundation, named for my son who was brave enough to bear witness, will ensure no one has to stand alone against corruption." As he spoke, his brothers from the Hells Angels arrived. Grave presented him with a new vest. Below the vice president rocker was a special patch, the first of its kind. Honor through justice. His club had created a new national position for him, advocate for police accountability. Later that day, the family rode together. Leo on his Harley, Maria on her own bike beside him, and Mateo riding with his mom. They rode past the gas station where it all began. The Confederate flag decal was gone, replaced by a sign that read, "All welcome here." The highway stretched before them, the sun painting everything in gold. Mateo pulled up beside his father. "You showed them who you are, Dad!" he yelled over the engine's roar. Leo looked at his son, at his wife, at the endless road ahead. He smiled, a true smile of freedom and peace. "No, son," he called back, his voice carried on the wind. "We showed them who we are." They rode on into the sunset, a family forged in fire, a brotherhood united by loyalty, and a living testament to the fact that even when the system fails, the power of truth, when backed by unwavering conviction, can never be defeated. Leo and his family won their battle, but their fight for others was just beginning. What do you think is the most powerful tool against injustice? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want to hear more stories of incredible conviction, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.